I'm your host, Mr.A. You're tuned into the Ready Talk Boxing Show, the Double RT Boxing Show with Mr.A. Thank you. We're going to go straight into talking boxing. Like the title says, a lion in the jungle or a stage circus cat. What is Jermall Charlo? Time to show us, time to prove it. And the reason why I say that is not a knock on Jermall Charlo. I think the dude's the real deal. I think he's a real threat to take over 160. But the reason why I say, is he a jungle lion or a stage lion or a stage circus cat? All his fights, his big fights recently, J-Rock, that was a mandated fight. Highland, and like I say, J-Rock was a mandatory fight. It's not, that wasn't a voluntary fight. He didn't just want that fight. But he says he fights anyone, I believe him. Like I say, what is he? J-Rock was a mandatory fight. He went up to 160, and his competition hasn't been the best. But I give him the pass because they've been mandatory fights. Highland was a damaged guy. Hugo Santinho, a mandatory fight. Now, did he do what he was supposed to do? Yes. So, I think he's a real deal. But now it's time to see what he does on his own. No more mandatory fights. He looked good in the fights he had to look good again in. Now that he's bumped up to that interim title, he's not fighting Triple G no time soon. He got at least a year, maybe a year and a half. So everyone's talking about, oh, Triple G should fight Charlo. Triple G should fight Charlo. It's not happening. It's not happening for at least a year and a half, maybe two. That interim title, only the WBC can order the interim to fight the regular champion. Until then, he's just a champion. Now, hopefully they do like the WBO and order Dogbo and Mangalino quick, but it's not going to happen for at least a year and a half. And then that's going to leave Charlo. He's going to have to show us now. No more mandatory fights. He's technically a champ. The reason why he's a champ because the WBC knows that Triple G has other organizations mandatories coming up. So he's going to be tied up, and they're like, okay, since our belt is going to be tied up, we need another fighter to represent us, and that's Charlo. And then once Triple G becomes available, they're going to allow Charlo to fight him. But you figure right now, Triple G got the IBF and the WBA. And then he even has a shot at unification with WBA. So the WBC belt for Triple G is not even looked at right now. Charlo and Triple G talk. It's not happening. It's not happening, folks. So, like I said, it is now time for Charlo to show. Now we look at the 160. Like I said, no more mandatory fights. He is a champion, kind of. Look at Charlo. Look at Triple G on a vacation because he has the IBF mandatory, the WBA, and then that shot. Like I said, that shot possible with Billy Joe. The WBC is not gonna mess with Triple G right now. So right now, champion B is Jermall Charlo. He's gonna be the one representing WBC. And you look at it. Number 2, Saul Alvarez. He ain't gonna fight Charlo coming off a suspension and an injury. Number 3, you got Daniel Jacobs. Like I said, the fight for Triple G is probably gonna be like a year and a half. And the WC states they want their champions fighting at least every 3 to 4 months, possible 3 fights a year, unless given extensions. That means Charlo is gonna have to fight at least a minimum of one if he gets extensions not to fight anymore, or at a minimum of 3 times before he fights Triple G. Triple G could be his 4th fight. But we'll play it in the middle, at least 2 more fights before he fights Triple G. And who is he gonna pick? You know, if he's the lion that a lot of us think he is, it's pretty. Looking at the, excuse me, looking at the, because he has to defend against the top 10. If he wants to fight 11 through 15, the WBC has to approve that. But right now, he's only allowed the top 10. So we go top 10, and we're going to start from the 10 down. 10 up, I mean. Number 10 is Willie Monroe, the Mongoose. Number 9, Roberto Garcia. Number 8, Kamal Sermeta. He's a European middleweight champion. Number 7, David Lemieux. Number 6, Jason Quigley. Number 5, Demetrius Andrade. Number 4, Hugo Santino. You know he's not going to fight him again. Number 3, Jacobs. Number 2, Alvarez. And Charlo being number 1. You know, easy way to look at it is kind of look at Charlo right now as, you know, the WBA has a regular champion. Charlo is the WBC regular champion, basically. Look at it like that way. Now, like I said, if he is the lion that he's shouting at the world he is, the 2 names that immediately pop out that I, as a boxing fan, I want to see, Jacobs and Andrade. And that top 10 I just named, who else do you want to see? Monroe, Garcia, Sermeta, Lemieux, Quigley, Andrade, Centineo, Jacobs, Alvarez. So basically he got 9 people to fight. You know, Jacobs and Andrade. Now if he goes through those 2 people, he'll prove and show he is what he's talking about. His words will be his fucking actions. His actions will be his words. You know, he's not all bark. He's not all raw. You know, the motherfucking lion is out to eat raw meat. Get in his way. Get in his fucking near his food. He's gonna eat you. Now, the possibility, guys, that considering his previous history of fights, Highland and Santino, those are mandatory fights. Forget it. Now there could be advisory of some safe fights along the route. Now you got to think Quigley, Lemieux. There could be O'Sullivan in there. You know, Sullivan's making a lot of noise. He's number 11. But those 3 are Golden Boy. And Canelo's a Golden Boy. So we'll get into another video on that one. Luis Aries, make a statement comparison about what Jacobs couldn't do. I want to knock this dude out. That could be one. Like, this is the back half of not Jacobs and Demetrius Andrade. Could be Luis Aries, because, you know, like I said, Jermall has been the mandatory fights, but then Centineo and Highland were not the best fights for him. He did what he had to do because they were mandated. So you got that. And then there's Roberto Garcia, 38 years old, but he's the WBC silver champion. And that's the highest belt besides the diamonds and the regular WBC champion and the interim. The next highest champion, but basically take away the interim. The interim is a special occasion belt. So basically the next highest belt behind the regular champion and diamond champion is Roberto Garcia, the silver champion from Mexico. So maybe being advised to, hey, take out the next highest champion and then prove a statement against Luis Aries. Like I said, I'm just doing analytics type thing, just trying to crunch it, the data here, looking at it, doing the elimination. That could be the B side. The A side obviously is Daniel Jacobs and Demetrius Andrade. Because like I said, Quigley, Lemieux, and Sullivan. Good names, but all Golden Boy. And I think they're being saved. Now, there's a mystery one in there where he fight Willie Monroe. I don't know. I don't know. You know, that's a toss-up one. Toss-up one on that Willie Monroe. Like I said, you got the A side choices, the walk, talk the talk, Andrade and Jacobs. Then you got the B side, like Roberto Garcia and Luis Arias. You know, so we'll see. That's just Mr. A's thoughts on, is Jermall Charlo gonna really step up and show? Now I get it, it's a lot of things people have to fight him, but we know he's very famous and he's willing to talk the talk, let his actions be known. He's been calling out Jacobs, so he's halfway there on this video. It's up to Jacobs and Hearn to make that fight. Now, will he get Andrade? Because Andrade is being quiet, ain't saying nothing. He, being usually Andrade, ain't getting no fights. So it's very interesting to see now that Jermall Charlo has no mandatories, but he's a champ. Let's see what he does for a year and a half until he gets his Triple G or a WBC champion opportunity. This is Mr. A's thoughts on the Double RT Boxing Show. Number 15. I'm your host, Mr. A. Thank you for your time.